Welcome back to Master 79. In this lesson we take on speaking topic 57. Describe a person you disliked at first but ended up being friends with. You get the full 1-minute brainstorm, a complete Band 9 long turn, and all 5 Part 3 answers unpacked line by line. 2 honest notes before we start. Band 9, here is our own quality assessment against the public ielts band descriptors. It is not a certified examiner score, and our candidate, is invented for teaching. Copy her technique, please, not her story. First, the format. The examiner hands you a card, a pencil and paper, and gives you exactly 1 minute to prepare. You then speak for 1 to 2 minutes, and the examiner will stop you at 2 minutes. Speaking for only 40 seconds is the single most common way candidates throw marks away in this part. And remember, the bullet points are prompts, not a form to fill in. You are marked on how well you speak, not on how obediently you tick off each line. Here is the card, exactly as printed. Who he or she is, how you knew him or her, why you disliked him or her at first but you changed your mind, and explain how you feel about the experience. Read it twice before you write anything. 2 things worth flagging on this card. The third bullet bundles 2 separate tasks into a single line: why you disliked the person and why you changed your mind. Treat that as 2 chunks of your answer, not one. And the phrase, how you knew him or her, is worded unusually. Most cards say how you met. Neither of these is a mistake for you to correct. In the exam, you answer the card in front of you exactly as it is given. Now, how to actually spend that 1 minute. 0 to 10 seconds. Pick a real person. Do not invent one. Invented people run out of detail at about 90 seconds and you will hear the panic. 10 to 40 seconds. Write 4 to 6 single words, 1 small cluster per bullet. Never write sentences because you will read them aloud and it sounds robotic. 40 to 55 seconds. Decide your turning point. The one moment your opinion flipped. That single moment is the spine of the whole answer. And the last 5 seconds. Choose your first sentence and say it silently once. It kills the opening stumble. Here are my actual notes. Look at how little is written. Who can, university classmate, now closest friend. How she knew her, year 1 marketing, group project, 4 strangers. Why she disliked her, 10 minutes late, no apology, shot down every idea, so arrogant. Turning point, wrong data, 11 p.m. panic, she picked up the phone, stayed until 3 in the morning. And how she feels, ashamed she judged so fast, grateful, trusts her now. That is 39 words in total. That is all you need, and all you have time for. Notice there is not one full sentence anywhere on that page. Before we hear it, here is the shape. Roughly 25 seconds on who she is and how they met. Get in fast. 30 seconds on the dislike and make it one concrete scene, not a pile of adjectives. 40 seconds on the flip. That is your longest beat, so slow down there because that is the actual story. Then 25 seconds reflecting, landing on a closing line you already know by heart. Notice the middle is the biggest. Most candidates get that backwards and spend a minute on introductions. Here is the full answer. I will speak it in 4 chunks so you can see the structure, but in the exam this is one continuous, unbroken 2-minute turn.
I'd like to talk about a girl called Kant who's now one of my closest friends. Although the first time we met, I honestly couldn't stand her. We were put in the same group for a marketing project in our first year at university. 4 complete strangers thrown together with a deadline. She's a few years older than the rest of us. She'd worked for a while before coming back to study, and she has this very direct way of speaking that I completely misread at the time. She walked in 10 minutes late, didn't apologize, and then pulled apart every single idea the rest of us put on the table. So my first impression was that she was arrogant and frankly quite rude. I remember going home and complaining to my roommate that I'd been landed with the most difficult person on the course. For the next couple of weeks I avoided her one-word replies, and I let somebody else deal with her. What changed my mind was something quite small actually. About 3 weeks in, I completely messed up the data section of our report. I'd used the wrong figures throughout. I only noticed at 11 o'clock the night before submission, and I panicked. Khan was the only one who picked up the phone. She stayed up until 3 in the morning helping me rebuild the whole thing, and she never once mentioned it to the others. That was when it dawned on me that what I'd read as arrogance was really just bluntness. Underneath, she's fiercely loyal. Looking back, I feel ashamed of how quickly I judged her, but I'm grateful for it because it taught me that first impressions are remarkably unreliable. If anything, I've become suspicious of people I like immediately because charm is easy and loyalty isn't. 5 years on, she's the person I ring when something goes wrong, and she still tells me exactly what she thinks, which is precisely why I trust her.
Let's measure that. 332 words spoken in 2 minutes and 5 seconds. That works out at about 159 words per minute, which sits comfortably inside the natural range for unscripted speech, and it answers all 4 bullets. Every one of those numbers was measured from the audio you just heard, not estimated. And notice what that length means. The examiner would stop her right on 2 minutes, which is exactly where you want to be. Being cut off is not a penalty. Running dry at 40 seconds is. Part 3 is a different exam wearing the same uniform. 4 to 5 minutes of discussion, and the questions get abstract and harder on purpose. Nobody wants your personal life here. They want your opinions about people in general. Aim for 40 to 60 seconds per answer, which is roughly 4 to 6 sentences. And I don't know is a perfectly acceptable opening, as long as you then think out loud for the next 40 seconds. Question 1. What do you think of making friends online? 10 seconds of planning in your head. Position normal now, and on balance positive. Reason shy or isolated people find their community. Example: gaming, online book clubs. Concession: it can be a bit one-dimensional because you only see the curated version of someone.
I think it's become completely normal, and on the whole I'd say it's a positive development. For people who are shy or who live somewhere fairly isolated, the internet is often the only realistic way to find others who share their interests. I know several people who have built genuinely deep friendships through gaming or online book clubs. That said, I would add one caveat: online friendships can be slightly one-dimensional, because you're only ever seeing the version of someone they've chosen to present. So they work best as a supplement to face-to-face relationships rather than a replacement for them.
Question 2. Is it a good idea to make friends with people who are much older than you? Position: yes, and it's underrated. Reason: same age circles become an echo chamber. Example: they have already survived what feels catastrophic at 25. Concession: watch the power dynamic, or it becomes mentor and student rather than friendship.
Absolutely, and I'd say it's actually rather underrated. There's a strong tendency to socialize almost exclusively within your own age bracket, which means you end up in something of an echo chamber, everyone worrying about the same things at the same time. Older friends bring perspective. They've already lived through the things that feel like the end of the world when you're 25, so they can be remarkably calming. The one thing I'd watch out for is the power dynamics. If the gap is very wide, the relationship can quietly slide into mentor and student rather than genuine friendship. But provided you treat each other as equals, I think it's enormously enriching.
Question 3. Do you enjoy meeting new people? Notice this one is a yes or no question, and a band 9 candidate refuses to answer it as one. Position: it depends entirely on the setting. Reason: small groups energize, large events drain. Example: networking, small talk that goes nowhere. Concession: what she has learnt is to aim for 2 real conversations, not 30 shallow ones.
It depends enormously on the setting, to be honest. In a small group or one-to-one, I love it. I'm genuinely curious about people and I'll happily ask questions for an hour. But I find large networking events quite draining. There's a particular kind of small talk that goes absolutely nowhere, and I've never been especially good at it. What I've learned over the years is to stop trying to meet everyone in the room and instead have 1 or 2 proper conversations. I come away with far more that way, and occasionally with someone I'm still in touch with years later.
Question 4. Do you think friendship is important? Position: it's a basic human need, not a luxury. Reason: it predicts physical health and longevity. Example: family love you regardless and colleagues want to stay on your good side, so only friends are honest with you. And the landing: everybody needs at least one person willing to say the uncomfortable thing.
Profoundly so. I'd go as far as to say it's a basic human need rather than a luxury. There's a fair body of research suggesting that social connection is one of the strongest predictors of physical health and longevity, on a par with things like diet and exercise. But beyond the health argument, friends are the people who give you an honest reflection of yourself. Your family love you regardless, and colleagues have a vested interest in staying on your good side. A close friend will tell you when you're being unreasonable. I think everybody needs at least one person who is willing to do that.
And question 5. Why is it important for some people to make friends with others? Notice the phrase, for some people. That is an invitation to classify. So instead of one reason, she gives 3 groups: loneliness, practical advantage, and migrants building belonging from scratch. Classifying like this is one of the fastest ways to sound analytical.
I think the motivations vary quite considerably from person to person. For some, it's straightforwardly about loneliness. We're social animals, and prolonged isolation takes a genuine toll on mental health. For others, it's far more practical. Friendships open doors professionally, and a great many opportunities travel through informal networks rather than formal channels. And then there's a third group, particularly people who have moved to a new city or a new country, for whom friendship is essentially how you build a sense of belonging from scratch. So, although the underlying need may be universal, what people are actually looking for differs enormously depending on their circumstances.
Let's collect the language. First impressions that went wrong. I couldn't stand her, strong, natural, and completely safe in the exam. She rubbed me up the wrong way, a British idiom, and use it once, not 3 times. She came across as arrogant, came across as meaning seemed, and it quietly signals this was only an impression, and I'd written her off, meaning judged and dismissed early. Next, describing the change of mind, which is the heart of this card. What changed my mind is a perfect topic sentence for the turning point. It dawned on me that describes a slow realization and is far better than simply, I realized. I'd misread her completely, is compact and precise. And underneath she's fiercely loyal, uses underneath to contrast the surface with the reality. And finally, the part 3 discussion phrases. On the whole, I'd say softens a general claim. That said, I'd add one caveat is the single most useful concession phrase in the exam. It depends enormously on, will rescue any yes or no question. I'd go as far as to say signals a strong opinion is coming, and provided you, gives you a conditional without using if. Examiners do notice. So why do we assess this as Band 9? Fluency and coherence. She speaks at length with no noticeable effort, and the story has a clear spine with the turning point signposted without clunky markers. Lexical resource, idiomatic and precise. Couldn't stand her. It dawned on me. Fiercely loyal. All used naturally, never dropped in for show. Grammatical range past perfect, cleft sentences such as what changed my mind was, and concessive clauses, and the vast majority of it is error-free. Pronunciation, though, cannot be judged from a transcript at all. That is the one criterion no written model can teach you. You have to record yourself. And again, Band 9 here is our own assessment against the public descriptors, not a certified examiner score. Write your turn, and this only works if you actually do it. Set a timer for 1 minute and write your own 5 clusters for this card. Single words only. Then record 2 minutes on your phone. No script and no second take. Play it back and try to find your turning point. If you cannot hear one, you told a list, not a story, and that is the difference between Band 6 and Band 8 right there. Then answer all 5 Part 3 questions using position, reason, example, concession. Post your recording in the comments if you'd like feedback. Subscribe to bmaster79 for the rest of the speaking library. See you in the next one.